Got a video here from Courtney Ryan. This is why so many women are single. And I think you're going to enjoy this video. So let's get into it. Yeah.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Courtney Ryan and I stumbled upon this gem of a video over on TikTok. And when I saw it, I was one of the first people to see it. It didn't have a ton of likes or views or comments or anything like that. But I just thought it was so refreshing as a woman to hear another woman saying this. And I'm sure that as mostly men watching, you will find this refreshing too. So I'm going to show you guys just so that we're all on the same page and then we're going to talk about it.
We need to have a chat. And don't get mad at me. Think of me like your older sister. Been there, done
It says he's not intimidated by you on the top of the video.
that. I've already experienced this, learned the lesson myself. So now I just want to teach you the lesson so that you can be honest with yourself. That man did not end things with you or ghost you because he's too intimidated by you. Stop convincing yourself of that. Stop letting your friends convince you of that. People used to say that to me, so I used to say it all the time when things didn't work out with a guy. I have been pretty successful from a pretty young age, and one of the things about me at that time was that, like, I made it my whole personality trait. Like, didn't need anybody for anything. Work, like, came first. I was a little more on the, like, argumentative, like, highly opinionated, which I am a highly opinionated person, but, like, it was just a different way. And people used to say that to me, oh, well, they're just so intimidated by you, and I ate that shit up until finally it came to my senses and matured, and I was like, well, I'm not dating insecure men. So I don't think that the men I date who are, like, successful, have their shit together, you know, pretty confident, are ending it with me because they're intimidated. They think I'm too good for them. I just don't think that that's necessarily true.
Here's the thing, right? People will hear this woman speak and they'll say that, oh, she's just behaving in a masculine way. This is a woman kind of acting like a dude. And I would actually disagree because, you know, masculinity and femininity, these are in fact fundamentally good things. I completely believe that. But what I see here is just a person who is being anti-charismatic, anti-personable. And I will say, though, that a woman behaving masculine does create an anti-charismatic person. Because you're not supposed to be that way. It doesn't really jive well with you. It's not really, nobody really wants to be around that. So while I disagree that what she's doing is necessarily masculine or she was behaving in a masculine way, I do have the opinion that when women do behave in a masculine way, it is anti-charismatic because it doesn't jive well. And I think a lot of people think charisma is extroversion. I think they think it's just like a person being extroverted. But ultimately, that's not what charisma is at all. It's making people want to be around you. There's something about you that people enjoy. And literally, quite literally, what she's describing is people didn't want to be around her, men specifically. And so, yeah, I don't think it's masculine behavior. It's just you're not personable. And it sounds like she does have girlfriends, and girls obviously are friends with her. But specifically in the eyes of a man, you are in fact anti-appealing. It's quite simple, isn't it?
What I've learned and realized is that they just don't like it. Like, if you are argumentative, why would they spend their time with you when there's someone else who's not? Or if your whole life is about...
Right, but what, in general, who wants to be around super argumentative people? Like people who would just take a contrarian stance for really no reason other than the fact that they kind of want to argue. Like, yeah, that in and of itself is anti-charisma. No, nobody wants to be around that.
not needing anybody and just like, oh, I can do this, I can do that because I'm like so successful and work is everything to me, then like why would they want that in a partner when there's someone who's more like open to being like a team?
There's the P word, partner. Oh goodness, men and women are not equal, and it's funny how they want men to be their equals so badly. But you know, you and I are not partners. I'm physically superior than you. I'm a lot stronger, You want me to lead you, is that right? You want me to protect you, is that right? You would love it if I could provide for you, is that right? Then I'm not your partner. The things you're expecting of me are fundamentally superior. So I'm not your partner, am I? Get that shit out of here. You don't get to expect these things from me and then also be able to make yourself feel better and put like an egalitarian stamp on it and say, oh, partner. No, not at all. Absolutely not.
Team rather than so like independent. The only time it'd probably be true if a man was intimidated by you would be if he had significantly less going for him than you do. Like, successful, you make a ton of money, you travel, you live in a nice place, whatever, and he's like between jobs and lives with his parents, like doesn't have a steady income. Or if you're like 10 out of 10, like stunning model, most beautiful girl he's ever seen, and he's like unhealthy, unattractive, like never been with someone that looks like you, so he like gets intimidated and unfortunately like psychs himself out. Maybe in that case.
You're not going to give that guy a chance though, are you?
But chances are that's not what your dating dynamic is.
Yeah.
And it's just that your personality isn't for him. He just doesn't like it, but he's not intimidated by you.
Love this girl. Wish that I could give her a hug because I have never.
Isn't it funny that's how much we coddle these modern day women? It's such a simple thing to understand. And yet this woman, she seems a little bit older. Maybe not like older, but maybe in her late 20s. And it took her this long to realize, oh, men aren't intimidated. Men aren't insecure. I'm just not personable. Holy shit. Do we keep these women in that much of a fog of delusion? That it takes them this long to kind of fucking find their way through? Find the truth? It's incredible, isn't it? I mean, this is very fun. This is very simple. It's kind of ironic how women are very judgmental and they're able to see it in men. Like, oh, this guy has these traits about him are anti-charismatic. Oh, he's not confident enough. Oh, he's arrogant. He's just something about him not attractive. He's not socially calibrated. He's awkward, etc., etc. All these things. But they aren't able to look inwards in themselves and see, oh, I'm also not personable at all. I'm also quite insufferable. I'm not that great of a person. My personality kind of sucks. They're very quick to see it in men, but very slow to see it in themselves. That's for sure.
Heard another woman say this, especially on TikTok. Normally it's the strong, independent boss babes that don't need no man. And if you say something like this, you are ridiculed and attacked and called a pick-me or misogynist in the comment section, which very well could be happening. I don't know because I haven't gone to check the current status of the video because, as I mentioned, I saw this when it was first posted. But it's just insane. She's 100% correct. The accountability that she's taking here, talking about her past and the way that she's, matured and realized this is just so self-aware and, again, just so refreshing to hear. And she's someone who has a female following, which is even better to see. I cannot tell you how many times I have heard women say, well, guys just don't like me because they're too intimidated by me, or I'm intimidating, or things didn't work out because he was, intimidated by my success and I made too much money for him and blah, blah, blah. Men don't care how much money you're making. That's a woman thing that women care about in men. So then when we're dating, we think that men care about the same things that we do, when in reality, not even close. And they just don't like you, probably because if you're approaching dating with this I'm too intimidating mindset, or you are an independent boss babe that don't need no man, he doesn't like that about you, and you have a bad attitude, and you're just not very likable. I did a video reacting over on TikTok to a woman saying, why have you wondered why men are choosing wonder bread women? Basically saying, do you wonder why men choose average women over you when you are a divine French croissant, basically high maintenance and all of this stuff? And it has nothing to do with the fact that these women are not as good as you. It's just that they don't like you. And by saying that a man doesn't like you because they're too intimidated by you, or you're too good for them, or you're too high maintenance, it's just honestly a cop-out for bad behavior. It's a way to take no accountability for yourself and the fact that you might just not be very likable. And in the Wonder Bread croissant case, I think if you have to put another woman down to feel better about yourself and why things aren't working out for you.
We really are taught and we really don't expect much from women here in America. And this is why it takes them so long to figure out super basic things. They're so delusional. They're so entitled. They're so bratty. It couldn't possibly be me. I'm not the problem. He's intimidated. He's insecure. And I'm trying to think of like different cultures. I genuinely believe, sort of, if you think about it, like Asian culture, I've said it in the past, but if a man makes good money or if he has like a good job, he's encouraged to seek that in his mate as well, in his woman. I'm very different in the way in that I genuinely don't care how much money a woman makes. I genuinely don't care about her career. But I believe in Asia, it's like they hold their women to very high standards. Like they do expect their women to be personable. They do expect their women to have good morals. They do expect their women to be, pleasant. And then even go to the point to where Asian men, if they have good careers, it seems that they're encouraged to also find women who have good careers. So just in general, it seems like they hold their women to a very high standard. And obviously it's working well. But here in America, we're just kind of taught why you can't expect anything from a woman, or else you're a bigot, you're a misogynist, you're insecure, you're intimidated. And this is how we've gotten to this point. So we really don't expect shit from them. And this leaves them in fairy tale la la land where they're like, oh, why don't men want me? Well, you're not a good person to be around.
Growth that you need to be taking. But in this case, I think it's great that, she was able to say, men are not intimidated by me. They just maybe didn't like me because I had a bad attitude.
Yep.
If you are a boss babe with a bad attitude, you've got princess mentality and want people to treat you like you're up on a pedestal all the time, or you're independent and don't need no man, those are probably the reasons why the men don't like you, not because they're intimidated by you. The first thing I want to talk about here is that women tend to go for men who are either at their level financially or success-wise or above them. This is hypergamy. It's real. It's true. It's not some myth made up by, people on the internet. This is a real thing that we do biologically. Statistically, it's safe for me to say this. Only 22% of women out-earn their husbands. And as women out-earn their husbands, their relationship satisfaction tends to decrease for themselves and also the man that they're with. Why? Because women typically want to be with someone who is at their level or above, as I mentioned. Now, this is not the case for every single woman on the planet. There are women out there dating men who make less or are less successful. It's just the way that...
Yeah, but they're compensating in another way because the dual mating strategy or hypergamy, it's got two sides. It's obviously the alpha fucks sort of side, and then you've got the beta provider side. So if one side isn't being fulfilled, the other is. So like if a woman is okay with being with a man who makes less money than her, it's very likely he's got more masculine dominant traits. But that's what I'm saying is like if one side isn't filled, the other side is. That's why you'll also see women with guys who make a lot of money, but they may not really be that attracted to the guy. But because he makes a lot of money, they're with him. Or they'll be really attracted to the guy, but he doesn't make a lot of money. So they are all hypergamous, that's for sure.
It is, right? So again, statistically here, it's safe for me to say that them being intimidated by you is not the reason because you're not dating men who are less successful than you or who make less money than you. And as I touched on earlier in the video, the reality is that men don't care how much money a woman is making. That's not something that's on their list of things that they're looking for. Men want someone who is going to bring peace into their life instead of constant chaos or a bad attitude or a princess mentality. You can be a very successful woman and men will like you if you have a good attitude and you're not a brat. If you're a woman who is well off, financially, maybe you're very successful and you're dating men who are at your level or above, well, then those men that you're dating also have more options in women. Why would a man choose to be with a woman who has a bad attitude and acts like she doesn't need him in the first place? Or even want him a lot of the time? I'm not saying that women should not be successful.
Anyways, I'm good on it now. It's really so simple. Just be a better person. People will like you. Be more personable. And have more charisma, ladies. That's why men don't want you. It's not because they're intimidated. It's not because they're insecure. you're just not that great, not as great as you think you are. And you've been coddled, and nobody really wanted to tell you the truth because you can't handle the truth. You'll get offended. Anyways, I'm going to cut it there. So if you enjoyed that, just leave a like and a subscription. Peace.